Hey guys, this is Mr. H again. This is the fourth and the final video in the nSolve series. And I wanted to do this because there are always going to be some questions on there where you're going to be expected to use formulas. And nSolve is a perfect way to use the formula to kind of find out what you need. So let me explain. So what you see on my iPad is the high school reference sheet. Now, the only formulas that apply to Algebra 1 are this one, the quadratic formula, that's for quadratics. The arithmetic sequence formulas, that's for arithmetic sequences, which are linear functions. And then we got geometric sequences, which are exponential functions. So this is quadratic, this is linear, and this is exponential. Now, the formulas that we're going to need are right here. Now, we don't have to memorize these at all. All we got to be able to do is we got to be able to use them. That's all they expect us to do. They don't expect us to memorize these formulas. All you got to do is be expected to use it. So I'm going to do an example using each one of these formulas. Okay, so the very first one is the quadratic formula. So this question says, use the quadratic formula to solve the quadratic equation x squared minus 4x plus 1 equals 0 for x. Now, you should already know you can just go straight to nSolve. If you do nSolve, there's going to be two solutions. You got to find both solutions. So we can nSolve that straight away. Now, the only thing though is this is a 2-point question. In order to get the full credit, we have to show them that we know how to use the quadratic formula. So first thing, I'm going to put the quadratic formula up on the screen. So this is it right here. So it is x equals a negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c divided by 2a. Now, all of that stuff looks really, might be really confusing, but all we're basically doing is we're going to find the zeros. That's what the quadratic formula does. It just finds the zeros of the quadratic formula. Or a quadratic. So that's all it's doing, but this is a formula. Now, this is how you use it. We need to come up with the B's, the A's, and the C. So when you write this, it's going to be x squared minus 4x plus 1 equals 0. First thing, the quadratic formula, in order to use it, it always has to be set to 0. All right, because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the zeros. So it has to be set to zeros. Now, every one of these terms has a coefficient. So this is going to be 1. This is a -4, and this is a +1. So what you would say is that the A term is 1. You would say the B term right here is a -4, and then you would say the C term is also 1. Now, all you're going to do in order to get full credit is you're going to take these numbers, and wherever you see the letters, you're going to plug them in. So this is what it should look like when you're done. It should be x equals a negative, and then you put this in. It's going to be a -4, and then it's going to be plus or minus, and then it's going to be the square root. That's the square root. That wasn't a very good square root, but that's what it's supposed to be. The square root of, and then you're going to do a -4 again, and you're going to square that, and then it's going to be -4 times the A term, which is 1. And then we're going to multiply it times the C term, which is also 1. So then, and then in the denominator, we're just going to say 2 times 1. Now, if you do this, this is 1 point. Now, if we do nSolve, we're going to get both of the equations. So we're going to nSolve x squared minus 4x plus 1 equals 0, comma x. And then we're going to be looking for two solutions, and they need to get rounded to the hundredths place. And if we do that, that'll also be 1 point. So in order to get full credit, we have to plug in all of the numbers for the appropriate variable, and then we're just going to come up with the answer. Now, this formula is going to give us the same answer, but I think it's easier just to use nSolve. So let's do that. So let's grab the calculator. So let's grab the calculator. And what we're going to do is menu 31. And then we're just going to type in the equation, the quadratic equation. So it's going to be x squared minus 4x plus 1 equals 0. And then we do comma x. Okay, now I press enter. And so this is the answer that I get. You should notice that this is not a repeating decimal. It doesn't have a pattern. So this is an irrational number. And so they wanted us to round it to the hundredths. So the hundredths place is the 6. So you look to the right, that number is greater than 5. So one of our solutions is going to be x equals 0.27. So if we go back to my iPad, I'll just show you one of the answers is x equals 0.27. Now, we got to find the other solution. So the way we do that, remember, we did this in one of the earlier videos, is we're going to make this equal to 100. Because that's what that we're telling the calculator, well, we got to copy it first. Hold on, copy it. And then change this to x equals 100. So we're going to say x equals 100. So we're starting at a different starting place, and we found a different solution. So this one is 3.73205. Again, this is another irrational number, but we're going to round it to the hundredths place, so it's going to be 3.73. So the other solution would be 3.73, and those are our two answers. So if I go back to my iPad, those are my two answers. Now, we rounded them properly, so that would be 1, and we used the quadratic formula. We plugged in, and that gave us 2. We're done. That's it. This would be 2 points, and it should be an easy 2 points. Okay, we're going to practice this this week, but I just wanted to show you this. Okay, so now here's another one. Now, we haven't gotten the sequences yet, but I wanted you to see this. So this one says determine the common difference of the arithmetic sequence, and they give you a sub 1 equals 3 and a sub 4 equals 15. So they want us to find the common difference. So here's what we're going to use for this. They gave us a formula, so we're going to use it. So let me pull this up, and let me make sure you understand. So this is saying, right here, this is the first term, the a sub 1 term. This is telling us the term that we're trying to find. And this is telling us the end value. It corresponds to this. So these two go together. And then D is the common difference. That's what we're looking for. We're trying to find D. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this formula, but we're going to store it for these other variables and then solve for D. So we're going to say a sub 1 is 3. We're going to say a sub 4 is 15. That also means that n is also 4. And so we're going to put, let's just do this. This will be a to the 4th, or a sub 4 equals a. Actually, so what I'm going to do is now I'm going to do nSolve, and I'm going to use this formula. I'm going to say A4 equals A1 plus n minus 1, and then I'm going to solve for D. So let's do that. So let me get rid of all of this stuff. So I'm going to go menu 14, get rid of that. Then I'm going to do menu 15, clear the screen. And so now let me make this larger so you can see it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to store 3 into a sub 1. Now watch what I do. I'm just going to do a and then the letter 1. So I made a new variable, a1. And then I'm going to do 15. And I'm going to store that into a sub 4. So a4. Boom, that's done. And then I know that the 4th term is what we're looking for. So this is going to be 4, and I'm storing that into the letter N. Press enter. And now I'm ready. So I go to menu 31, nSolve, And then I'm just going to put in, this is going to be a sub 4. So a4 equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 parentheses n minus 1 close parentheses, and then times d. And then I'm going to do comma. Now notice everything in here, every one of these variables is bolded, which means it's not a variable because we put numbers in there. And the only thing that we're solving for is we're trying to solve for the common difference. So when I press enter, it tells me that D is equal to 4. So if I go back to my iPad, this is what I have. I have D is equal to 4. I'm going to change the color. Now, this is what I think if you do this might get you the full 2 points. If we do a sub 4, actually, we're going to put the numbers in. If we do 15 equals a sub 1, which is 3, plus n minus 1, which is 4 minus 1, and then d, and then we say, if we say d is equal to 4, I think if we do this, that's 2 points. So basically all I did was I actually took these numbers and plugged it in, just like I did over here on the quadratic. I just took these numbers, I just plugged them in, and then I nSolve. So that's it. That's all we're doing. So that's for arithmetic sequence, and I'm going to do one more, and this is a geometric sequence. This is an exponential function. By the way, this is a linear function, and the common difference is the same thing as the slope. So these are the same thing. Common difference and slope are the same thing. They're identical. They mean the same thing. Now, this is a geometric sequence, and they gave us the first term. So once we know it's a geometric sequence, we're going to go and we're going to go get that formula. So this is the formula that we're going to need right here. And what we're going to do, let me see, can I get it? Yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to solve, what are we solving for? We're trying to find the fifth term. That's what we're looking for. So we're trying to find the fifth term. They tell us the first term. They tell us what the common ratio is. So here's the stuff that we have. So we know what a sub 1 is. A sub 1 is 4. Then we also know what the common ratio is. So R is a -3. Now we're trying to find this, a to the fifth term. So we also know, because we're looking for the fifth term, that n is equal to 5. So here's what we have. Let's nSolve this. We're going to have a sub 5 equals a sub 1 times r to the n minus 1. And then we just nSolve this, and we're going to be looking for the fifth term. So let's go. So let me get my calculator up here, and let's finish this. So this will be menu 14. Let's get rid of all the stuff that was stored, and then let's clear the screen, menu 15. Now we're going to store 4 goes into a sub 1. So this is a1, oops, a1, and then we press enter. And then we're going to do a -3, and we're going to store that into R. Where is R? Right here. And then we're going to put 5, since we're looking for the fifth term, that's going to go into N. And then we're looking for the value of the fifth term. So all we're going to do now is we're going to do menu 31, and we're just going to use that formula. So we're looking for the value of the fifth term. So that's going to be A5 equals the first term, A1, times, I got to put a times in there, times the common ratio, which is R. And then we're raising it to the n minus 1 power. So this is going to be the n minus 1 power. And then, so I'm looking for the value of the fifth term. So I'm just going to do comma. And then I'm looking for A5. So that's the variable I'm looking for. And then I press enter. And it tells me that the value of the fifth term of this geometric sequence is going to be 324. So if I go back to my iPad, that would be choice number 1. Okay. So when they give us a formula, or when they give us a geometric sequence or arithmetic sequence, we can use the formulas combined with nSolve to kind of figure out whatever it is that they want us to solve for. And this one, they wanted the value of the fifth term. In the previous one, they wanted us to come up with a common difference. But either way, once we use the formula and we know what we're solving for, we can use nSolve. We store the numbers that we have in those other variables, and then we're left with one variable which we can nSolve for. I hope this has been helpful. Let me stop this and post it.